Hey everyone, this is Alex.
This is Boscha. We're Full Odyssey, and this is episode 26.
Yeah, 26. And today's topic is actually going to be our movie discussion about the first Iron Man movie from 2008.
Which I've never watched before, it seems.
So this is going to be interesting because I haven't watched it in a while. Boschka's never seen it.
Mm-hmm.
So first things first, I want to say why didn't we do a react video? Mostly because we're not recording together.
Thank God.
And the other thing is that we're not very good reactors, so to speak.
I was about to say, speak for yourself. I'm amazing reactor. No, not really.
Yeah, like we spread some jokes here and there, but we weren't like, oh shit, or holy cow, you see that? Wowzers!
Yeah, we don't like explode out of proportion. No.
Yeah. So that's why I'm thinking like a reaction from us wouldn't be that good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but anyways, so that's our excuse, and also we didn't have to record our faces.
Right.
Okay, so before we get into the meat of it, I just want to ask you, Boschka, what do you know about the MCU?
Nothing.
Nothing. Like, but you've seen some of the movies before, right? Like, I know you saw Endgame.
Think so. Yeah, I've saw like some of those. So I got like clippets of stuff going in and not really kind of thing.
And okay, and my next question for you is, what do you know about Iron Man?
It's red and yellow. It flies and shoot beam.
So pretty much you're like completely fresh newborn baby experiencing the MCU for the very first time. Okay.
And one of his ultimate move in the fighting game was that he pulled out like this huge ass cannon that just shoot across the screen.
Oh yeah, from the fighting game. Proton cannon.
Yeah, there you go, proton cannon, I think.
Okay.
That was pretty sick. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so for my side, I know Marvel pretty well, I would say. I'm pretty big. I want to say pretty big fanboy. I am a fanboy-ish. I watched Iron Man 1 when it first came out in theaters, so all the way back like forever ago. And I've seen all, if not most of them. I'm pretty sure I've seen all the MCU movies. I don't think there's one I haven't seen.
Interesting.
But I haven't seen all of them in a while, so I more or less don't remember much about it. Yeah, but I do remember like the major plot points of most of them, I think.
I see.
Yeah. And then Iron Man. Actually, prior to just before we were recording this, I showed Boscha the Iron Man intro for the animated series.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I remember from Iron Man.
I am Iron Man.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that's a really cool theme song.
I'd say.
So okay, so now moving on to the movie discussion.
Mm-hmm.
What were without going into spoilers, what is your first impression of the movie?
I really liked it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's well paced. I like it, and things are intricately, how do I say this, like connected together, like things that happens and everything kind of like pulls like back and through. I just feel that it's really well made.
Well made, well written, I guess, because most of the stuff in the movie have a purpose. They're not just there just because they're there or because they can.
Not because it's a rule of cool.
The rule of cool. Yeah.
No, I never heard of that before.
Mm.
Rule of cool.
Now that you mentioned, I might have heard of it, but it just sounds hilarious. Yeah.
It's like as long as it's cool.
Yeah. The movie, I really like the first part of the movie.
Which one?
Up until he got out of the cave. The whole pretty much the first act of the movie. First third.
I see, like the one when he was just like being a brat, just enjoying life, having everything, kind of thing.
Yeah, and then also the cave, and then after he escapes the cave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that chunk of the movie, and I enjoyed the second act, not as much as the first one, but I still quite enjoyed it when he's like building the new Iron Man suits and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's like for me when I think about Iron Man, that's what I think about, like him building the
Making
suits,
the
him
suit.
yeah, him being the engineer, like being the genius. The third act,
I see.
I still, how can I say, it kind of lost me a little bit just because the final fight scene wasn't that great.
Yes, the final fight scene wasn't that great, I can say.
Yeah, and actually for the most part, overall, this movie was really good, and I'm glad it did very well because this is the movie that jump started the MCU, right?
Oh, is it now?
Yeah, so without this movie, there would be no other Marvel movies. That would have been it for Marvel. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why, yeah, so that's why they always put a lot of emphasis in Tony Stark from here on
Mm-hmm.
out because he's
Mm-hmm.
the granddaddy of them all. He started the whole thing.
I see.
So now we're gonna go into the actual movie itself. I just want to say, you know the Jericho missile scene where he was showing off the
Yep.
missile, and he was like
Yep.
spinning out his arms. I really
Mm-hmm.
like that part. I thought that was pretty cool.
For me, the part that I like was
Yeah.
actually when he got blown away.
Oh, like the very beginning.
Yeah, no, 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 like as in like when he spread his arm, and I present to you the Jericho missile,
Oh,
and it
okay.
go and exploded right behind
Yeah,
him,
yeah.
and he actually got blown forward.
Oh yeah, yeah. The
I
shockwave,
I
right?
really like that detail. Yeah, that was really well thought. Like a lot of the part of the movie was like very well thought. I was like,
Yeah, because Robert Downey Jr. is a good actor.
oh, I'd say.
But prior to this, no one wanted to hire him because he was like a drug addict. He was struggling, and
Prior, so not anymore.
yeah, he's sober. He's completely okay now.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and then Marvel was just like, oh, we don't want to take a chance on him because he's a liability kind of thing, right? But if you look at his history, he's literally Tony Stark, like in real life,
That,
like
the whole time.
yeah, the real lifestyle, right? And he looks exactly like Tony Stark too. So he's kind of
Does
like,
he?
yeah. If
Because
you
the
look,
animated video that you gave me,
Mhm.
he had a really sick long hair. I was like, oh damn, that's that's different.
but the second animation video I showed you, or technically the
Yes,
first
yes,
one,
yes, yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
the first one.
so he looks exactly like Tony Stark. So he nailed the he nailed the look, right?
I'd say.
And the mannerisms are very Tony Starkish.
I never really know Tony Stark before this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So how do I say this? Like I can't really tell if he's very Tony Stark-ish because I don't know Tony Stark.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't hate this character at all. I really like it.
Yeah.
Cause yeah, throughout the whole thing, cause at first he shows the image of like he has everything, right? I don't want to say ignorant. It's like he's very, what do you call it? Like bratty almost. Like
He's like a showboat.
he's on a, yeah, he's like on this like on this fun V with with all of the with all of the other soldiers and whatnot, and he was
Yeah.
drinking and whatnot. He was like cracking jokes and whatever, breaking the ice and whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
which is a great personality, like a friend personality with it.
Yeah.
But I got a feeling he just like believed that everything will go as he wanted. You know what I mean?
Of course, yeah. That's his character. So he's like the
Exactly. That's what it is. Like it gives it, and he portrayed so well that it feels that way without having to be verbally expressed, right?
yeah.
He's just like so, what do you call it, extravagant. He just does whatever he wants, and he's just like, yeah. And then shit start going downhill really fast, and I really like that too. And then fateful encounter, realization of what's what, and what
Mm-hmm.
what this whole death merchant is actually like bringing to the plate of the world and whatnot. He kind of like having epiphany and whatnot. I just love it. The growth is great. I like it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think this movie works really well because it's literally the hero's journey. It's just condensed in 2 hours.
Yeah, but like, a lot of movie fails to, how do I say this, do that in the same span amount of time. In the sense that like it doesn't express it well enough. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the thing about this one is that it stuck to its source material pretty well. Like, I don't think they took any creative liberties, so to speak, right?
I don't know because from my point of view, the actor,
Yeah.
I don't really know his full name, but
For Iron Man?
yeah,
Okay. Robert Downey Jr.
what he does feels very free. You know what I mean? It doesn't look like what he's doing is scripted. That's how, like, because like even through conversation, sometimes he just like just like cut people off and like keep talking and but the whole thing feels natural. You know what I mean?
That is him.
Because when like other character, like when they're talking,
Yeah.
you could sense that they're in a movie. They have a script and they have to behave a certain way, right? It feels that way, and it's normal, and that's expected in a movie because they are acting, right?
Yeah.
They're setting up the atmosphere. They're setting up the backstage. This is the feel of the thing. Thus, I behave this way, right? But then there's this one anomaly that was just doing whatever he wants, and it meshes everything beautifully together. I was like, wow, this guy's insane. That's what I thought. That's what it feels to me.
Yeah, that's why people are saying Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark. They're one and the same character. Right? He embodies that character really well. Yeah.
He's not acting. He is. He just is.
Yeah, he's not acting. He is.
That's like the whole time I just like, enjoy watching it because other than like some part that has to be like completely scripted, like the battle scene and whatever,
Oh yeah.
the thing he does is just very, very free,
Hmm.
which is a weird thing for an actor to do, right? Because an actor job, for me at least, it's anything but free. If there's anything, you're putting restraint on yourself to act a certain way, right?
I think it's a very peculiar case for Robert Downey Jr. because
I'd say.
he's experienced more or less the same things going on with Tony Stark in real life. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. So he kind of knows, right? Like, how can I say? Yeah, essentially they're just the one and the same character. Like when people see him and they go Tony Stark, and when they see Tony Stark they go Robert Downey Jr. Like there's, you know,
It's synonymous now.
yeah, interchangeable. So my next part is, oh yeah, so Tony Stark hammering the mask for the first time, him building a Mark II. Those are like classic Iron Man stuff. Like that's
So Mark II is the classic Iron Man, right? I don't know the name of these things. I don't know when's the
oh.
Mark II is. When's
So
the
so
Mark
Mark One is the
the
metal.
metal one,
Yes.
the big chunky
Yeah.
that break to pieces. All right.
Mark Two is the
The red and yellow.
no. It's the
That's oh no.
the metal one.
Oh, the I see.
The prototype.
Yeah, the smaller style.
The first time he built
Ah.
that one, and then Mark Three
Yeah,
is
yeah,
the
yeah.
painted up one.
Ah, I see.
So him building all that stuff, it's classic Iron Man to me, anyways. Like that's my
Like
favorite part.
hammering the thing up and whatnot.
Yeah, because I like seeing him build the
Oh yeah, I do too. I think that's one of the funnest part that I see too. Like him just like, messing around with like the machine, like doing like calling his AI to do shit with him. I thought that's really neat.
what can I say? Jarvis. I thought Jarvis was really cool. Jarvis the AI.
I kind of like that those well not Jarvis but also like all like the hand robot like the Butterfinger or something.
Yeah.
Butterbeans.
Butterbean.
I forgot what it's called. That thing was like like those robotic has like a like characteristic,
Yeah. Each one has their own personality.
and it's interesting. You know what I mean? Because when you think of like a robotic stuff, it's a very precise, very like what do you call it? Like it does stuff better than human.
Yeah.
That's the image of robotics, right?
Yeah.
But you can see like when he was like making the boots and whatnot, it was like higher, stay still, like you're in the way, like yo.
I don't know if that's supposed to show like if, Tony Stark programmed it to be like that.
I don't, yeah, maybe like it kind of like it fits the character. That's like it kind of supplement his character, and that's what that I really like that.
I was gonna say, traditionally speaking, Jarvis is usually a human butler.
Oh,
So for them to change it into an AI was an interesting choice. Not only that, but I think nowadays Jarvis is an AI now. It's not just like a human butler, I believe, in the comics.
I see. So is that because of the movie or the
No.
comics?
It's because of the movies, for sure.
Oh.
Like,
Well, I think it's more convenient that way too. I think, especially for Stark, it kind of like he's like the leading technology monstrosity. You know what I mean?
yeah, he's like the figurehead of the technical world, right?
Yeah. But I like when he was said that you were called like the modern day Da Vinci. Would you agree to that? It's like, well, no, that's preposterous. I'm like, oh, damn.
Yeah, there's a lot. I want to say not clever lines, but like lines to feed Tony Stark to give them back a quip. Like the Da Vinci line,
Mm-hmm.
or like the merchant. Like when she called him the merchant of death, you're like, oh yeah, I like that nickname. That's a good nickname.
Yeah. Wow. For me, I also like that name
merchant of death.
because that's literally what he's doing. It is what he's doing, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's selling weapons to. At first, you originally thought he only sell it to his own people, right? To America, right? For the country, which I mean, it will make sense. But now when it started going around the world, that's when he starts, getting concerned, right? And that what do you call it? The fact that didn't cross his mind that his technology would, fall to the hand of the enemy. It actually surprised me in the beginning. I'm like, really? Of course, it's like you're the leading weapon manufacturer. There's always a back route somehow, and it'll get to your enemy. Of course, like why wouldn't be that the first thing you thought of?
Because he was thinking like he made those weapons so that that wouldn't happen, right? He wasn't thinking like it's possible. Because as you said in the beginning of the movie, he's on his high
Mm-hmm.
horse, right? He thought he could do anything and everything, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
soon he figured it out throughout the movie that he's like, no, this is wrong.
Yeah, yeah. The fact that he got wiser is what really makes me giddy. I was like, yep. When he start looking back to himself and start, like this is bullshit. Like this shouldn't happen. Kind of like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because throughout the whole movie, Boscha was like giggling like a schoolgirl, and he was like really enjoying the movie.
Cause I really like it. Like I like the character development. I like the quip. I like the character interaction, and I just like the characters. It's amazing. And this makes me scared of the Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3
Well, we'll have to see.
because I really like the first one. That's what I'm saying.
I also like the part where Arman, when he was flying back for the first time, and he's like, "Okay, shut off the power," and he just falls right through the house. And then
Hmm.
later in the movie, they make a callback to it where he
Yeah,
flies out of there. I thought,
yeah, the
yeah,
exact same hole. No, I thought that was, and the fact that he, when he shot the
yeah,
car, right? I was like, why the fuck would you do that?
it was in the way.
Oh, get out of the way. Ah, I
Yeah,
see.
this movie is very well structured.
Yeah, that. Yeah, like it's very well structured. Everything, it's like we'll come back to. Cause remember the place that Tony, the lady shows the picture to
Hmm.
Tony, right? Do you know this
Yeah,
place, right? That was the place where the doctor came from, right?
yeah, yeah.
That's why I was like, oh, nice. That'll punch a blow to his gut. I'm like, woo.
So, any other scenes that stood out to you while watching this movie?
Uh, as of now, I still don't like the secretary girl.
Really?
Yeah. As of
Oh,
now, I still don't. I still don't like her very much.
because that was actually legit gonna be my next question. Like, what do you think of the relationship between Stark and Pepper Potts?
As of right now, it doesn't feel balanced at all. It doesn't feel right.
What do you mean by it doesn't feel balanced?
As in, like, how do I say this? Like there's a lot of interaction of like both of them that kind of makes them. You could see the synergy and how they could connect very well,
Mm-hmm.
and how from the beginning, I guess Tony put like a lot of trust in her, but at the same time, I don't feel like she, what do you call it, shows that back. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like she gives back. Kind of like you could feel that like Tony is like he's kind of like first like sleazy and just just playful and like kind of crappy, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah,
then
yeah.
the whole time he kind of like opens his heart to her, right? Even like when changing that, there's a lot of moments when they're like Tony was like, I have no one else. You're the most capable, the most trustworthy people I can trust. Like that's one moment that he opens up that much, and like yeah, even like to other like scene and whatnot too. But it feels like she doesn't respond.
She
How do I say this?
does. She does, but she also like she quips back at him, right? She gives him the
Yeah, yeah.
like sass.
Like the quip and the sass is cute and whatnot, but there's a lot of scene. Like I was talking about, like when, how do I say this? Like Star kind of shows the vulnerability. Like he's very vulnerable,
Yeah.
and he's kind of like there's a bunch of moments that was like that,
Mm-hmm.
but it just feels like Pepper never showed that, like her vulnerable moments, her alliance to, other than the crying scene when,
Besides,
even that, it wasn't show that he cries, right? It was just like the aftermath of the crying.
so you wanted them to be like a real moment, not just like a comedic undertone kind of thing. You,
The comedic was fine. It shows their relationship, right? Like the
yeah,
friendly banter and whatnot. No, I
yeah.
think that's great. But if you tell me about that's like romantic, I wouldn't say so.
I see.
Because as of now, right now, I could see like the Stark is trying to make a hell lot of move on her,
Yeah,
while playing around too,
yeah.
and she's like pretty much. I don't want to say fed up, but kind of like, yeah, whatever. This is him, whatever.
She's skeptical.
Kind of like that. I know. So for now, I wouldn't say it's like a romantic relationship as of yet. At least not coming from her side.
Fair enough. I mean,
Yeah.
how can I say? I mean, she didn't say it when you remember they're dancing. She was like, "Oh,
Hmm.
it doesn't feel right. You're my boss. you sleep with women, and we know all your image about that stuff. And then Stark was just like, yeah,
Because for me, that part, it's it the it doesn't show like how do I say this? Like for me, that I take that in like face value when she said that. It's
yeah,
not like like she's being embarrassed and just like like saying stuff to like cover her feelings kind of thing. I mean,
yeah.
I take that as like she feels nothing for Stark. Like
Mm.
that's what it feels like. She's like, well, you do all this shit. Doesn't have to be me. And like, what the hell? Why did you dance with me? This is gonna make my life harder. It's like it feels that way. I don't know if that was what I was trying to portray, but
No, no, I kind of agree because at first I was just thinking
mm,
like, why is Stark making a move on Potts all of a sudden, on a Pepper all of a
mm,
sudden, right? And then
mm,
I remember it's because of Jensen or the doctor from the cave, right?
mm,
He was saying pretty much Stark got a second chance because Jensen sacrificed himself for him, and he was saying, "Don't waste your life."
mm,
And remember the speech where the man who has everything but has nothing because he doesn't have a
mm,
family. So I'm
mm,
guessing that kind of just
mm.
triggered something inside him. Where he's like, "Oh, Pepper Potts is the only."
For me, it doesn't. For me, it doesn't feel that way. Like that talk does like shook him,
Mm-hmm.
makes him realize, but I don't think that's the reason why he, in a sense, that make move to Potts, like specifically.
So he's
Because
like,
I think he tried to opens up because like when he comes back after that speech,
yeah,
after the talk with the doctor,
yeah,
so that's why he went to he talked to Potts like but like he opens up to Potts, right,
mm-hmm.
to Pepper,
Yeah,
and then he also talked to Rhodes, right,
yeah,
yeah, and then Rhodes like you know what you gotta chill, like that, right.
yeah,
Yeah, and then that's kind of giving him a chance, like really, like I'm trying to fucking open up here, and he just pushed me away, like I could see it like just from his face. That's why I'm like, damn, this actor is good.
yeah.
you know.
Well, because at the time
So
everyone thought that
yeah,
character was going through PTSD, right? He was like crazy.
and I could tell him too that that he actually believe in the bald guy. Who's the bald guy again?
Uh,
Obi-Wan, not Obi-Wan. What's his name?
Obadiah Stane.
Obadiah. There you go.
Well, because that's his
Like he
uncle.
also trusted in the beginning. I know. Like he had like full trust in him, so he kind of like he talked to him about like the stuff when, and then he was the first one to push him away, right? He talked to Pepper, and then Pepper was like, "Oh," and then Rhodes like, "Yo, bro, chill, cool your head and come back." So he's like, "Okay, so well, out of all those, the only one I have is Pepper, so well." You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's what it feels like to me.
The love between Tony and Pepper is kind of random.
I wouldn't say random. It's like for now, it's not. Well, from Tony's side, it's like established. Like he clearly been making a move nonstop.
Yeah,
But that could be just like Tony Stark pants running wild.
yeah.
Yeah, but that's what it is, right? But we know that that's not the case. At least I feel like that's not the case. He's like trying to be serious.
Yeah.
Because I think after he came back from the talk with the doctor thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He came back and he never really made a move to another girl, right?
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the one thing that I noticed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's trying to be serious with her, but by that moment, of course, from past habits and shit, well, even Pepper don't like really. Yeah, sure. Right now it's me. Watch till like next week or something. You're probably gonna
Yeah.
like right now. It still hasn't reached Pepper yet.
Yeah.
I don't know about the subsequent movie, but right now, nothing yet from Pepper's side. That's what I'm saying.
Because of his reputation, right? It's just so that's holding him
Yeah,
back.
kind of. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, as it should.
Interesting. Oh.
That's why the world building is really good. That's what I'm saying. The character is very well defined. I like it. Not just by the character itself, but by the relationship with the people around him. That's why I'm like, this is good story writing. This is a good character.
If they didn't have a sequel, it was just this movie.
Hmm.
Would you be satisfied with it? It was just Iron Man 1 and
Yes.
only Iron Man 1.
Yes.
That's perfect.
I would be like, okay. I kind of wish, I wish the battle scene were a bit more,
Dramatic.
it shows more power of the Iron Man power, because right now he was fighting with, like, the old core, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't that good, so he has to, like, outsmart the enemies to a certain degree, and he gotta, like, do all this crazy stuff. I kind of wish, it was a bit more, it shows the power of the Iron Man. You know what I mean?
I think that's more of a technology thing on our side, not the movie side. Or I guess like the movie side. But I mean like the CGI wasn't quite there yet.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about that. I want, like, more, because the whole time I don't think Iron Man shot the photon beam the arm cannon to the enemy at all, right?
He did the chest. He did the chest beam.
Yeah, the chest, but that one was like enough to blow the guy away, right?
Yeah.
But the arm shot and whatnot, he didn't really do that. Like the missiles and whatever, he has all of those. But because of the core thing, it doesn't have to be that flashy either. But we know that Iron Man has a lot of like weaponry.
Mm-hmm.
But during that final part, he did nothing of that because of the energy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
that's what I'm
I
saying.
think that's their way of saying, "Oh, we're running out of budget. Let's try to reduce the CGI
Maybe.
needed."
Maybe that's what I'm saying. But like, I was hoping that the battle could be a bit more, flashy.
Yeah, I would agree. Like the final fight was kind of bunk, but
Yeah.
overall, I would still say the CGI was still pretty good.
Oh, the CGI was great. Well, I mean, I don't know how old was this movie. It's very CGI-ish. Like I could see like some of them.
Yeah.
Like very CGI-ish, but it
still holds up.
It's amazing enough that I don't
Like, you don't care, right?
I don't mind it too much. Yeah,
exactly.
Like it's like
Because this movie is like what 13 years old now at this point.
yeah, that's what I thought. It's really old. I know.
Yeah, like
That's amazing.
and it still holds up pretty well. Yeah, so I guess.
Oh, I'd say.
Okay, now let's go to this. Oh, my favorite part of the talk, Alex's nitpicks.
Okay.
Okay, so the first thing that I didn't really like
Mhm.
is that Jensen, the doctor, gets no love.
Mhm.
After he dies, that's it.
Oh, I think for me, I think he'll fulfill his role.
Yeah.
Because you know how he said like in the country. I mean, for me, I think his character ended like just like smoothly. I'll list your nitpick after, but right now, because he the whole time he was like helping Stark building the robots and whatever,
Yeah.
right? He was trying to mediate, and the whole time when he was helping him, when he was under pressure, when the enemy's gonna come in, whatever, he panicked like a civilian would, and I thought that was amazing. He panicked, and Stark was like, just calm down, just press this, come on, just it's okay, it's gonna be all right, just help me finish this, and then it's gonna be all right. But he's like panicking the whole time, right? I thought that was amazing. And then there's like, I'm gonna make my decision, I'm gonna buy you some time, right?
Yeah.
And the first thought that I thought was like he was just gonna run out like gun blazing, like start shooting people and whatever, right? Not at all. He lived up by his oath. He instead of like aiming at the people, he you're just waving the gun upward and start shooting randomly, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. He's a doctor. He swore to save and protect all life. I was like, oh shit. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, that's a really good touch.
That's a detail that like no who would fucking pay attention to that. Let's go with that. Because like here's the thing. The fact that he's a doctor was only mentioned like what, probably once and stuff, right?
A few times,
And-
yeah, a few times.
Yeah, a few times, but the fact that, if people saw him just like waving guns around and shooting up in the sky, probably like, what the fuck is this idiot doing,
Yeah.
right? But like upon further inspection, you're like, oh, this kind of like sweet details is like insane. And then at the end, well, he kind of got gunned down, but I don't know, there's like 18 people, I think?
Yeah, or something like that.
Pointing gun at him. I don't know if he got shot full of hole or he just got shot twice and he's just on the floor. But like at the last moment when he was like has in like final talk with the Stark and whatever, telling him that I've also have nothing, like all my family and whatnot is gone, and all my like this is how it should be, and
This is
it.
my destiny. According to you, this is his destiny.
I didn't say that, but yeah, that was it. And he was like, yeah, I wanted this and whatever. I'm like, okay, and cherish people you love and whatnot, and I'm like, oh, okay, and then he's done, right? And that kind of pushed an epiphany to Stark, right? And I was like, and he started thinking. He started developing wisdom and start, thinking the effect of his doing to the world, right? And I thought that was amazing. The character itself didn't get mentioned, but the one thing that kind of the one that pushed Stark like to the edge of like anger of like you could say like the final, like the ultimate final like line that makes it like, okay, this guy is my enemy, the Obadiah guy was that, right? Because of the picture of the what's his name, Jensen? Isn't that like
Jensen is his name,
yeah, oh, Jensen. Jensen is sorry, that's Disney, you might want to cut that out. We're gonna get in trouble for that. But
What?
yeah, for Jensen, it's kind of like his hometown. Who he said that that's my hometown, and then the picture of it being like completely ravaged by the weapon he made is like, okay, we gotta stop this. And I thought that's a good, what do you call it? Because even though he's not mentioned as much, he still affect him that much, right? As in like, it kind of give him like the last push to destroy his weapons, kind of thing.
Right.
To give him the motivation, and I thought I thought that character was like rounded very well.
No, I mean,
Now
yeah,
your side.
like no, like his story, his character arc. Yeah, I agree. That's it's well rounded. It finished off well. Like he served his purpose. But I would have been. No, what I mean is like I wish Tony Stark mentioned him outside of that arc. Just be like, oh, you know that scene where Pepper and him were talking, and she was like, "I quit because I don't want to be a part of this." And then Tony Stark was like, "Well, how could you say that when all this time I've been making these weapons, killing these people, and now I want to decide. I decide that I want to stop doing this. You want to quit now?" I would have like at that point I was like waiting for him to be like, this doctor sacrificed himself to save me. He thought my life was worth that much more, right? So this is like what I have to do. This is my responsibility.
For me, I don't think mentioning him will do anything. At least for the movie.
No, I mean,
in a sense that mentioning that dude, Pepper will be like, "Who the fuck?" And then it's I think it's fine the way it is. I think it kind of like mentioning him back is kind of unnecessary. That's what I think.
No, I just would like to see a little bit more love for Jensen because Jensen is his driving factor, as you said, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So that's like I guess a minor-ish nitpick. Yeah, in the whole grand scheme of things. 10 Rings, the terrorist group.
Why 10 rings though? I still need to figure that out.
So, Tony Stark's like major number one enemy in the comics is the Mandarin, and the Mandarin is a Chinese dude with 10 rings on each of his fingers, and each of these rings have different powers.
Oh, is that why?
So this is a Easter egg for the 10 rings of the Mandarin, right?
Yeah, but none of them are Chinese.
Right. I don't know how. Well, I guess now we know, right? So they just not recently, but like they announced that they're gonna making a Shang-Chi movie, and Shang-Chi has connection with the Mandarin.
What's a Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi is the name of a character. So he's gonna be in an upcoming Marvel movie. But anyways,
okay, yeah.
I'm sad that the Mandarin and Tony Stark weren't able to fight against each other, right?
Because I don't know. What is this? What's his name again? Mandrill?
The Mandarin.
Mandarin.
Yes.
Mandarin. Shit.
Yeah.
I just realized the wording there.
Yeah.
But what do you call it? Like, what is his ability? He has the ring, right? Is this ring like mythical or technology?
I'm sure in the MCU it's gonna be technology or like alien, maybe even. But in the comics, it's mythical. It's magical rings.
Because I don't know, it just doesn't feel, what do you call it, like very, because like it's, I don't know, it just feels weird because so far, and at least in just the world Iron Man, right? It's very logical.
It is, yeah.
Ish, I mean, forgetting about like G-force and shit like that, but it's
it's doable.
It's very logical, like it's doable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the reason why they didn't introduce the Mandarin yet.
Yeah, because I think that'll makes it, so magic's possible, like
because prior to Doctor Strange they were like, oh, how's magic gonna work, and then Doctor Strange came out. So it was, how's magic gonna work, because Thor is a god and stuff, right? He's like, nope. It's just Thor comes down, he's an alien that lives on a different planet, and and he's just
and
he was
planet called Asgard.
Yeah, on a planet called Asgard, and apparently magic is just technology you don't understand yet. Our technology is so advanced that it seems like it's magic.
Well, I mean, makes sense.
It makes sense, right? And then Doctor Strange comes out and you're like, okay, well now we have wizards. Like, they do magical shit.
That's just technology.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't got to that far yet. I don't even know what Doctor Strange does, but...
Yeah, we'll get there. So, yeah. And then now we're going to get to the Mandarin. So, after 13 years, we're finally going to get the Mandarin. And the other part of this, the Mandarin is there's racial undertones, I guess, as you can already imagine.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Tony's dead already, yeah?
Tony in the MCU, yes, he's dead.
Yeah.
So that's why you said Mandarin won't be able to face off with.
Yeah.
I see.
Also, yeah. Oh, and by the way, it's not really a spoiler for Boschka because he did watch Endgame. So
Yeah, I watch Endgame,
yeah.
so I don't know why people love Tony Stark so much. I mean, he's a cool guy and whatnot. When I was like when I watched the Endgame, like, yeah, he's a cool guy. He does fun stuff. Oh, he died. Everybody in the cinema was crying. I'm
Yeah.
like, what? Is he that lovable? I'm like, I kind of see it now. I'm like, I see. Like, yeah, he's a cool character.
In Endgame, it makes a lot of callbacks to the previous movies, like all the movies in the MCU.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All?
Most of it, if not all. But we'll get to there. You'll see it when we rewatch Endgame.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I have to say about Ten Rings. Kind of disappointing that they introduce them here and don't really do anything with it until like 10 years later. Kind of shitty.
Do you think there'll be a like Dragon Ball, and just revive Tony Stark back or whatever?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they would do
People
that.
will get pissed.
I don't think people will get pissed. I just think it'll just like cheapen his death almost. Like, oh, you can bring people back
it
from the
will.
dead. So there's no like real.
Let's bring back Captain America.
Yeah, exactly. There's no like gravity to when people die.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're trying to do for the MCU. Is like they killed off these characters. They want to make sure they stay dead at least for a very long time. Mine. Okay, now this is a weird nitpick. I wonder if you can explain this. It's at the end of the movie where the Shield agents come in and try to arrest Sting, Obadiah.
He just disappeared.
Yes.
I felt that too. I was like, where's everybody? I was like, where's she alone now? I felt that. Yeah.
Did they just get knocked out, and then when the building was about to explode, they decided to run out? Like,
Because they got like a cool scene when they're busting the door lock too. Right?
Yeah.
I really enjoy that.
yeah.
And then they did like all cool pose, like walking away from looking away from the explosion. Boom, and then they storm in the store. I'm like, yeah, that's really cool. I like that. But then after the whole shenanigan of the thing, how the enemy just start chasing for Pepper for some reason. And everybody just disappeared, just like smoked out of existence. I'm like,
It's very peculiar.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's kind of, I don't know what happened there, or it was just like a
I don't need
continuity problem, but ew. Of all my
That's
nitpicks that I have, I think that's the most legit one.
Yeah, for me, I agree. That one makes me go like, nah, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah. And then, the last thing I want to mention is Sam Jackson as Nick Fury. The perfect.
I never know what Nick Fury looked like. I know, like, I never really seen Nick Fury,
Yeah.
but I think that's just Sam Jackson being him. I don't know. I think that's just him. You know how you said like earlier, like Tony Stark is Rob Jr.
Yeah.
And then Nick Fury is just Sam Jackson.
I agree. I think
It's just
Sam Jackson is Nick Fury. But the thing is about Sam Jackson is that every character he plays is pretty much Sam Jackson. But people love him
Yeah.
for that, though. He has the right attitude for it.
He has the right feeling. Like it just, I don't know. It's like more like expected. If you suddenly play like a somber pope, just like a caring father who's just like smiling and whatever, people would still understand. But like they'll be expecting a motherfucker here and there. You know what I
Yeah, bitch, motherfucker.
mean? Yeah. Just waiting him to pull out a gun and stuff like that.
Okay, so a little bit of backstory for this. In the comics, traditionally speaking, Nick Fury was a white man.
Right.
So in terms of looks, I guess the closest you could say is he looks like David Hasselhoff, if you know how he looks like.
Oh dear. All right.
Yeah.
That was the wide of wide.
And
Okay.
David Hasselhoff did actually play Nick Fury in an old,
Oh, did he?
like an old Marvel movie, I believe, like a long time ago. Right? But
Interesting.
in the modern age, right, around this time, in the comics, in the Ultimate Marvel universe, they had their version of Nick Fury be black, and they took the appearance of Samuel L. Jackson. Right.
Wonder why. Eh?
Yeah. So, which is why they casted him in the MCU, because they already have Sam Jackson in the comics. Just have him in real life.
It's ready made.
Yeah. You see that in the MCU, they borrow a few elements from not only the main universe, the 616 universe, but also the Ultimate universe as well.
Sorry, the sixth what?
So in the comic book universe, the the main story,
Right.
they call it the 616 universe. That's universe 616.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
Okay.
but for the MCU, they borrow quite a bit of elements from the Ultimate Universe. So
Okay.
yeah. I know you don't
That
understand. I know you
confused
don't
me the
understand
hell
because
out.
you don't read the comics. But this is what I've noticed when I watched it. They have a little bit of the Ultimate Universe. They have a little bit of the main universe. So this
What's the difference?
creative liberties, so to speak. It's a bit different.
No, I noticed that, but what I'm saying is like, can you tell what kind of creative liberties they're talking about here?
Not that I can remember off the top of my head, but I do know they borrow elements from the MCU. I mean, from the Ultimate
I see.
Universe. Yeah. Such as the Nick Fury one. That's the first example I can think of, actually. And now in modern day comics, Nick Fury is a black man. And how they explained it is because that is Nick Fury's son, Nick Fury Jr.
So what you're saying is that Nick Fury can be whatever the fuck they want, right?
In a way, yes. I think that's mostly because of Samuel L. Jackson's portrayal. They wanted a black Nick Fury in the main universe.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
capitalize on the
Yeah.
thing.
We like him anyway,
Yeah.
so we like the dude anyway, so we have no problem with that.
Yeah, like I love Samuel L. Jackson, so I'm down for that. Now I was gonna say something about Rhodes, but I'm gonna save
Yeah.
it for the second one movie because he doesn't have a big part in this one, but he does have a bigger part in the second one.
I see.
Yeah, because he's just literally like a cameo almost in this one.
He kind of like a sidekick. You could see it.
Yeah.
He's kind of like, Tony's friend, like Tony's good friend. Well, because you could see him, right? He was like, dude, you make me stand here for 3 hours? and then Tony's like, well, I'm sorry, right? And he's like, no, I'm not angry. Just, you don't respect yourself, so you don't respect, like, it's a friend talk.
Yeah, it was a banter.
It's a disappointed friend
Yeah.
talk. And so you know that they're really close,
Yeah.
right? When they're drinking, like, how Tony pretty much got him on a leash, because it's like, no, I'm not drinking, we're on duty, and it's like holding a fucking bottle and just like, so what I'm saying is that when I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, and he's like, here we go again. And I'm like, yeah. So they know each other for a while, like, that he's a good friend. That's why, like, Tony's kind of like, are you serious? When he was like, cool yourself, dude. Like, I thought that the thing is like, it just feels like but at the end he still kind of like, kind of got Tony's back, right?
Oh yeah,
He's
they're best friends, right?
He's like, yeah, that's why he's just like, nope, it's just a training, training shit. Don't worry about it.
Well, the way I see it is like he's supposed to be the straight man in that relationship, right? The guy who's supposed to be like the serious one.
Yeah,
But they change it throughout the MCU, which I'm kind of glad they did because it makes it more. How can I say it?
it makes sense that he's friend with Tony
Yeah, it makes it more like it makes more sense versus just like having like
a serious guy.
yeah, like a what's like that.
Because it makes you wonder, why are they friends?
Yeah, exactly. Because they don't really get along, right? Like
Yeah.
if you look at Starks' character, like it's kind of like the opposite of what he would want in his friend.
Yeah, and it won't be friend, right? That's what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah. So anything else that you didn't like in this movie?
Pepper.
Yeah.
Don't like
Aside from
as
Pepper,
of
you
now.
already ranted on that already. What else? What else that stood out to you?
Yeah. It's for me like the Ten Ring dude, right? Is it fine to assume that that's the end of him,
I believe so.
or that's gotta be a spoiler?
No,
Oh, okay.
I think
if you couldn't
no,
remember,
no,
I think he doesn't
he's
hold
dead.
a major ring. Okay, because he was like, yeah, because like the whole time he was like, he's like how do I say this? Like he is a pawn till the very end of his life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Not a very convincing villain. He didn't seem very threatening.
Really, for me in the beginning, it kind of gave off the scent that he gonna pull off something big. Like for me, that's what it feels like in the beginning, especially when he didn't die from the explosion from Tony shot.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like he survived with a luck, right? So he kind of like it looks like he got a lot of motive to, because he's the one who like noticed Tony's doing something something suspicious, and like he's the one who's like he's very keen and so he has the insight, so to speak. But I don't know. It just feels like he's just a spawn in the end, right? Because in the end of the day, Obadiah make him do shit, and then the end he disposed of him as just like a flicking a hand, and just like that. And I was like, but like in the beginning, I could totally feel that. Oh, he's gonna be something. Like I don't know if he's gonna like betray Obadiah and like become the bad guy or so. It feels like that. Like he He had a potential, but it never came through. So I was like,
Yeah, he became garbage. Like that's.
yeah. That's why I was like, he could have been something. It feels like he could have been something, but I don't know.
He didn't even have a cool death either.
Maybe it's better that
He didn't have a cool death. He kind of just.
Yeah, it's just off
Yeah,
screen. Well, it kind of shows. Well, the things like what kind of irked me is that because we've shown that the thing is a paralyzer, right? He showed it on that because it would have been cool because like when in a lot of especially in this kind of movie when they do something once and it worked, the second time they do it will 100% fail. Like the kind of trope kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this time you do it on Tony, and Tony got hit by the I know that Tony wasn't there to see it, but it just feels like, oh really, Tony's gonna get hit by that too. It's like, why don't you just hold it on your hand every time? It's like if that's such a strong.
I was gonna say because you made me remember that. Like, why not have that paralyzer be a part of the suit, right? He could have taken out Tony so easily, but I guess
that's what I'm saying. It's like why. Yeah, it's too OP, but like, what do you mean? Just use that on Thanos. You'll just get paralyzed and you can avoid all the battle. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. It's a forgotten plot device. They could have done something else. They could have literally done something else.
That's the one thing that I just thought to be like odd. If it's that strong, then why?
I guess
there's that.
I guess
too.
you could say it's like extremely experimental. That only works. I fucking don't know. They never mentioned it again.
No, I know that's what I mean. I bet so, cause
I don't know. Anyways, I guess that's another nitpick that we can add to the list.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of nitpicks though.
But because it is a good movie. If not the nitpick, it's still an amazing movie. I still like the pacing. I still like the character creation, like the character portrayal.
Yeah, for sure.
Fucking hell, that was a good movie. I've watched in a while.
Like I think, in terms of casting, everyone was casted really well. I don't think anyone felt like out of place or miscasted at all.
I'd say, yeah. Even the reporter girl felt
like a reporter,
reporter-ish, annoying and just obnoxious.
In your opinion, did this movie held up?
Yeah.
Like, if this movie were to be shown in 2021, you think it would do well in the theaters? Mm-hmm.
Right now, I would say yeah. Because how do I say this? Like, it's. Well, I mean, are you saying like the other Marvel movie don't air, like alternate universe where this just comes out now, or what?
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. Like alternate universe, this movie came out now. Like the exact same movie, but just came out now.
Yeah, I would say yeah. Because even if it's like like a very very minimalistic, I don't think there's a lot of movie that fights back in this kind of like well written wise. I don't think there's many like I mean I don't watch movie often, but I think this create a great ripple, like it's insane.
I also agree. I feel like this movie held up to this day, and I think it's gonna hold up for another 10 years, maybe even longer.
Yeah, because I mean, okay, so let's just say the CGI got better and they do like more effect and whatnot, but it's not just about that. The movie is more than just that.
Like the story wise, it's really as we said and mentioned before, it's really well written, well structured.
It's really written, well flowed. It's insane.
Yeah.
That's why.
Going forward now, where do you want them to? What ideas would you want them to explore in the future?
I don't, because I don't know the universe, right? I don't know the story. I don't know what elements they have and whatnot. And I don't know what other heroes. I'm gonna tell you this, and don't be surprised, people, and don't flame us. But I always thought that Batman, Iron Man, Superman, Flash, and Green
all the
Lantern,
same thing. All the same.
Fucking everybody's just like Spider-Man. Everybody just came from the same bunch. I never knew they came from. Like I didn't know this until 2 years ago or something.
Oh my god!
Someone's like, you went like, dude, what the hell? Of course not. They're different universe. I'm like, oh
my god.
Like what kind of different? They're like different companies. I'm like, oh.
Oh my god, we're gonna get flamed so hard.
That's what
people were like, actually. Oh my god.
I didn't know any of this. That's why I don't know any of this. So I don't know where it should go forward. But whatever it is, I am willing to give it a shot. That's how, because this is what the kind of stuff, the kind of people that you want to aim to, right? It's not your fan or whatever. The people have no prior knowledge of what it is, and it managed to hook me in and make me want to see what comes next. If there's something next, right? Especially anything but written by this director or played by these actors. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's amazing.
Okay, I can say one thing right now. Well, I don't think.
Yeah.
I know this is why React videos are so popular. It's not just because they have giant reactions to certain moments of the movie, but like people watching them react for the first time watching the movie is like them watching it for the first time again, if that makes sense. Like,
It kind of makes it a relatable
yeah,
feeling.
because you're like excited. It's like, oh shit, this cool part is gonna come out. I wonder how they're gonna react. And they're like, oh shit, and you're like, yeah, see, that's the feeling.
Yeah, that's right.
So I know that's
see.
why people like reaction videos, because they wanna. It's almost like rewatching it for the first time again.
I see. Yeah, especially if it's like a masterpiece, right? You're watching a masterpiece and you still held that feeling very, very dearly to you, and you want to share that
Yes.
feeling to people without spoiling them and want them to get the exact feeling you have.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess reaction movie is the way to go. That's interesting.
As I mentioned while we're watching this to Boscha, throughout the movies, every time you see Iron Man, you see him in a new suit. That's what I want to see, and I'm glad that they continue that trend throughout the movies.
Because again, I told you, right? I have no idea that Iron Man goes different suit. As far as I know, he's a red, yellow dude flying around shooting beams. Like, and he says like, "Oh yeah, he changed suits." What? It's like, yeah, he changed suit. Oh.
But
Okay. What does he do with the old one? Just throw it
no,
away?
he keeps it. He keeps it in his collection. But like, it makes sense, right? Like, as technology evolves, his armor has to too, and he always constantly upgrades it or makes a new suit for a different purpose.
One thing is like, for me, that's what I'm saying. Like, for me, like in my image in my head is that Iron Man is like the suit is just that. What do you call it? Like overpowered, so to speak. So instead of making a new suit, he just upgrade that one so overly upgraded that it's just one suit that does all.
I see.
That's
So he's
my
kind of
image
like
for him, man.
tearing it down, rebuild it kind of thing.
Kind of like tearing it down, upgrading this, making that. So now he could like go to space. He could go undersea. Like he could go like
Oh, I
anything.
see. No.
That's what
He-
I'm saying. It's a one suit that does all.
He makes suits for different purposes. Like, there's no like a jack of all trades Iron Man suit. Well, I guess technically.
What I mentioned, it wasn't jack of all trades. It's a master of all trades.
Oh, okay.
The ultimate suit. That's what I'm saying. Like the ultimate Iron Man suit.
Technically, his main suit would be like the master suit, but I guess yeah. But he builds suits for certain situations for sure.
The thing is, like, is it always better than the old one, or it's just like like, so let's just say the master suit, like the original suit, the Mark III, I guess.
Yeah.
It's let's just say all status is like 50, right?
Yeah.
And let's just say the new suit he made, is it like does it actually increase the average, or it just move the average around?
It's I think it's a little bit of both. Like, it might be better than that previous model just because there's a new technology. But then he might be like, okay, I want this suit to be more faster than stronger, or I want this
So
suit
that means
to be
it's
more
less durable,
than
but it faster. Yeah.
yeah.
I see.
Right. So like the next time you see like the master suit, it might be like all 60 in stats and then all 70 in stats kind of thing. But then there'll be like other suits that branch out from that that has different stats.
I see. I see.
Yeah, Iron Man. That's Iron Man for you. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much all we have to say about that.
Yeah, that was a really good movie.
Overall, what would you rate it?
Oh, this is rough. I would put it like probably 8.5.
Ew, really? Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Because for me,
because of the final fight. I wish if it was better, I
Oh.
would give it like an easy 9.5.
that's true. You know what?
I should have probably didn't say that until you said your ratings.
No. I'd still give it a 9. For me, I'll give it a 9. Maybe even 9.5. Because you have to think about not just the... How can I say? Because I'm not scoring this just based on the movie itself. I'm also scoring it based on its legacy too. Because without this movie, as I said, there's no other MCUs, right?
Yeah, for me that's not fair. In the sense that I don't know what's coming after, and I don't honestly care. So for me rating, that's just what this movie as is. Unless it has a sequel or prequel, then it doesn't change anything.
So I give it a... Well, if it wasn't for the final fight scene, I'd probably even give it like a 9.5. But I think 9 is a fair score for it, in my opinion.
I see. I'd give it 8.5. 8.5 probably is good.
Wow, so it loses a whole like 1.5 marks because of the final fight scene.
I'd say, yeah. No. There's no movie that's 10 out of 10. So my final mark would be 9.5. That would be the highest.
No, but it could be 10 to you, right?
No. That's what I'm saying. Like, there won't be a movie that's 10 to me. Maybe.
Oh, I
I don't
see.
know. I haven't seen it yet.
I see. Okay, I got you. So you're doing it based on your own bias, not just objectively speaking.
Yeah.
Okay, got you.
Kind of like,
okay.
Like, for now, I haven't seen any, like, 10 out of 10 movie yet. The ones go, like, if I watch it, I wouldn't even make a noise. That's how good a movie is. I would just, like, stare at it and be like...
What was the closest movie for a 10 to you?
Ooh, I don't know. I can't really recall. But I remember a movie that I would just want, like, probably, like, smile and, like, laugh a little bit because of the jokes and whatnot.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't talk. I just stare. I think there was a movie. I'm like, oh, I think it was Your Name. I think that one was that. And I think there's another one movie too I was watching. It was just like, I just stare into it and I'm like, wow, this shit's really good. But I can't remember what it is. So that's a good thing about me. I forget stuff. So when I watch it again, it feels new.
Yeah. I feel like this is also like a whole new topic for another podcast episode too.
Okay.
Yeah. So any last words or final stuff you want to say, Wash?
It was a really good movie. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It's great.
Yeah.
Watch it, and if you have to, try thinking why certain stuff is the way it is. Because in this movie, I think it's justified and it gives a good answer.
Yeah.
Because a lot of movie, when you watch it, you start saying, like, what the hell is this shit like this? And you just, like, you just come up with, like, this annoying stuff that's, like, running in the back of your hand. Like, it shouldn't be that way. Like, whatever, right? But in this one, if you think about it, it's like, oh... So that's why, like, why the doctor was swinging his gun overhead instead of, like, shooting at people. It's like, it's just one of the things you go like, oh, right,
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's no loose ends in this movie. It pretty much wraps up everything.
For me, I wish I can say that. I don't know yet. I need to, like, further investigate, but it feels right. Like, on just, like, first watching and, a little looking into it, it feels really fine. It feels really solid.
No, I mean, like, even for, like, example, like the 10 Rings thing, right? Like, even if they didn't decide to use the Mandarin, that guy could have just been the leader of the 10 Rings. And then he died in that movie, right? So, therefore...
Yeah, so it was N, like, as in there's no...
Yeah, it was the end, right? They didn't have to establish anything more.
I see. Yeah, I see. Oh, if that's what you meant, then yes. Because you could say that at the end, if the movie doesn't have a sequel, I'll be fine with it, too, because it ended that well, you can say.
Yeah, it wrapped up everything nicely. Even with the post-credit scenes, you just like, oh, shit, that would have been a cool teaser.
Yeah,
but,
for something, but, whatever. For now, we're not expecting anything yet.
Or you can just have an implication saying, like, oh, Tony Stark became an Avenger, right? He, like, became a super, like, world-renowned superhero kind of thing.
I mean, he kind of did, like, announce it at the end of the...
Now that you mention it, I was going to say, I like how the reporter... unintentionally push Tony Stark's egos and button, right? Because he wants to be known, but at the same time doesn't. But then he was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just gonna say I'm Iron Man. he wants that reaction.
Was that whole thing scripted, by the way? I'm starting to wonder. Because it looks, oh shit, I fucked up. It kind of feels that way. And then he's just like, you know what? Fuck it. It feels that way. It just comes across that way to me.
Yeah, like it feels natural, right? Like it feels like he wanted to say something, but he couldn't. And he decides to say, fuck it. I want
Yeah.
How can I say? Yeah, it wraps up nicely. Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., one and the same.
One and the same.
Sam Jackson, Nick Fury, one and the same.
They are who they are.
Yep. We both highly recommend this movie.
Definitely. If you haven't watched it, give it a shot. It's a fun time.
And I think the next one in this timeline would be The Incredible Hulk.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll just follow the lead.
Right, so that's it from me. Do the outro, Boscha.
Alright then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. This is Full Odyssey Podcast episode 26. This is Boscha.
This is Alex.
And thank you for listening. We'll see you again next time. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.